Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm here just wanting to give you my weekly little update Tuesday afternoon hello. So I have a question for you. What do you do when you find yourself in this pattern that repeats with another person where you have a same old conversation and they usually respond in some way that's criticizing you and you get all annoyed and upset and all of these emotions inside start churning up? Hello, Elizabeth. Thanks for tuning in. So how do you maneuver through that conversation without creating a war with the other person? And especially when you recognize that it's a repeating pattern that you guys have. It's the way you dance, the type of interaction, and it's what defines part of your relationship with them. So how do you handle that? How do you get out of that pattern? So if you have any comments about what you do, leave them in the comments below, and I'd love to have a little chat with you about that. So this is something I was having a conversation with earlier with some of my coaching people, or people that I'm coaching. And when I was going to backtrack, when I was getting off of sugar cravings, dealing with sugar cravings and getting off of them, then I recognized there were 5 different factors on what of things that I needed to address and how I was thinking, how I was doing things, how I was taking care of myself. That when I addressed all 5 of those things, then it helped me get beyond sugar cravings. And hello, Adela, thanks for tuning in. And one of those 5 factors is to really start tuning into your habitual ways of doing things, making the unconscious conscious. Because until you can become conscious of some of the patterns and habitual ways of things that you're doing, you can't change them. And when you're when you are in that repeated pattern over and over and over again of the same response, the same thoughts, the same emotions that lead to the same behaviors, which too often look like emotional eating when you're upset or depressed, grabbing for all those sugary foods. That's a habit that we've learned over time. And until you become conscious that you're doing it and understand what drives that pattern, you're not going to be able to change it. So that's why I say it's really important to become conscious of your unconscious things. So where is all of that information stored? Anybody have a guess? You want to give me a thumbs up of where you would think that information would be stored? It's in your subconscious mind. And what is your subconscious mind? It's your body. The intelligence of your body. Just like how you learn to ride a bike or drive a car. At first you had to really focus on the thing and look at all of the details, and you practice a bit and you learned, and then pretty soon you felt that it was becoming easier and easier to do. You were developing the habit. Your body was learning. The muscle memory was being laid down in your neurology and in your muscles. Hello, Chelsea. Thanks for tuning in. And so your body learned how to do that action of driving the car. Hello, Irma. And pretty soon it became very automatic. You don't really have to think about it. And Diane, thanks for tuning in. So that's an example of how the body learns something and then it becomes subconscious. It's embedded in the subconscious mind, which is our body's intelligence. And so when you have patterns of other types of behavior and habits that lead to anger, upset, emotional eating, it's the same type of phenomena of how your body learns to deal with things. And so when you are looking to get off of sugar, then it's really important that you start honing in on what some of these things are. Really start examining your thoughts, your actions, what you're doing that drives you to reach for that sugary stuff. Okay? So What are some of the things that you guys have done, or that you recognize you've got a pattern that you want to break? How do you break it? Anybody want to just type in a note of what you've done? If you have some tips and things that have worked for you, I'd love to hear about them. So let me tell you what has worked for me. So I studied for a long time about energy healing work, learning to understand the energy system of the body, of the human energy field, and how that relates to the body's health. And one of the things that I learned is that the body will hold in muscle memory and in our neurology the experiences that we have with other people that usually are not always happy. I mean, it imprints the positive as well as the negative. So when we are having a dialogue with someone that we recognize we're in the same loop, the same way of relating and responding, and they're pushing the same buttons of irritation and anger and upset with you, that's a loop. So what I learned to do to break that loop was, after the conversation, rather than projecting and getting all entrenched in an argument and this war with this other person, where you just reinforce that loop, that argument, I would step away, hey Ed, and go take some time out of self-love and self-care and self-reflection. And I would start to just calm down, slow down my breathing, bring my attention inwards towards my body. And I would start sensing and feeling my body of where is this energy of this upset residing. Because I'm the one feeling the emotion. It's in me. When you're upset, it's your emotion. It's your energy. So it's up to you to learn to manage it. No one else is going to. So rather than throwing it out, giving away your energy, giving away your power to that argument with that other person, turn your energy, your awareness inward, connect in with your body, and starts to sense and feel, where in my body am I holding this energy? Hello, Elizabeth. Where in my body holds this upset? And it won't take long before you start to tune in, and you'll feel it, you'll sense it. And so then what I would start to do is start breathing into that area. So with my intention, I would say, if it's in my stomach, I would just breathe into that area, into my stomach, sense the upset, the energy of that upset, which is just emotional energy. Acknowledge that it's there. Say, I hear you, I feel you, I see that you're here. This is what my body is holding right now. This argument out here, which has nothing to do with the other person, has stirred up the energy that's been stored in your body. And now you have an opportunity to either re-entrench it, or you can let it go. Hey Tammy, thanks for tuning in. So rather than blaming the other person as being the horrible person, acknowledge them as being a catalyst to show you where you are holding energy in your body that's probably not serving you. It's energy from past experiences. And so by bringing your awareness to your body, slowing your breath down, acknowledging the upset, the energy that you're feeling of the anger, the sadness, whatever it is, that gives it a channel for release. It allows the energy to be moved through your body. So it's no longer sitting in your tissues, having a detrimental effect on your physical health. So you just breathe in white light and you exhale out whatever that feeling is, whether it's anger, it's sadness. Inhale in white light, exhale out the anger or the sadness. Inhale in white light, exhale out whatever that emotion is. And you keep doing that until you feel better, until you can feel the shift or sense the shift in your body, which you will. The more you do this, the more sensitive you'll become to how your body feels. And the more you do this, there's two things that will happen. The emotional button or the trigger that you had that got triggered from that conversation, the volume of that will decrease. The intensity will lower. So when that person says whatever they say, you won't be as upset. It will be more neutralized because you've moved the energy out of your body. You're no longer sitting in that emotional charge. It's not there. And so you'll be less reactive. You'll be more aware and in tune with who you are, how you're responding. You have a choice to respond in a different way instead of that old habitual pattern that led to that massive argument or upset or whatever the thing was. It gives you a chance to break the pattern. And then you can say something different to the other person. You can respond to them in a different way, in a much more aware, intentional, conscious way, instead of the old habitual knee-jerk reaction and blaming them for what you're feeling. Do you follow that? Give me a like, some love, some thumbs up that you get what I'm sharing with you. So your emotional intensity will go down. And so you have a chance to respond to that person differently. That's the first thing. The second thing that happens is you've shifted, you've changed, and you're responding to this other person differently. You're not reacting as much. And so that gives them an opportunity to change something too. Because you've changed the dynamic. You're no longer in the same dance with them. You're coming at it from another angle because you've shifted your energy. So now they have to do something different because you're no longer playing the same game with them. Okay? So they can either respond however they're going to respond. They could be a little bit more nice. They could get more hostile, whatever. However they respond, it's nothing that you have any control over because it's their choice at that point. They get to deal with their emotions, their triggers, their reason for being in that little loop with you. You follow that? Hey, Diane and Irma, thanks for tuning in, and Joe. So that's just a suggestion that you can do in the moment and afterwards to help you become more aware of how you're responding to people, especially people that you live with or that are intimate family members or partners, to where you find patterns of behavior and arguing that go on that leads you walking away with a bad feeling, bad taste in your mouth. So you can gradually change that pattern and do something else. How does that apply to getting over sugar? How often do you find yourself reaching for the comfort foods, the sugary stuff, the chocolate, the ice cream, the pastries, the pasta, whatever your thing is, when you're upset? You know, we all do to some extent. So when you can recognize that pattern and become conscious of it, you can also choose to respond in a different way. And so the sugar coating, the sugary foods are no longer necessary to sugarcoat the upset of the anger, the grief, whatever that you felt that your body has been carrying, because you've shifted that energy. You've allowed your body to release the energy of that emotional upset. So you don't need the sugar to sugarcoat it and bury it. Do you follow that? Irma, you said all the time, so you may want to go back and listen to the rest of this video of what you missed, you know, if what I'm sharing with you is something that you can apply. So Joe, I'm doing great. Thanks for tuning in. So that day-by-day work of your becoming aware and mindful of what you're doing, that is the fifth factor that helps you, hey Nancy, get over sugar cravings, get beyond the need or the pull, the automatic pull to help of grabbing towards the stuff that is going to ultimately not be healthy for you. So I have my, hey Nancy, hey Todd, I created that cheat sheet that I mentioned that has these 5 different factors. This is just the 5th factor that I talked about, and I just kind of introduced that to you. So if you'd like to receive it, I'm happy to share it and so you can have that PDF so that you can look at all the other 4 factors of things that are also necessary to address and become aware of, so that you can get beyond sugar cravings, so that you can get over the emotional draw, the emotional and chemical addiction to sugar, and all of the unhealthy foods. So with that, just let me know, leave me a comment below, send me a private message, and I'm happy to get it to you. And I'm dropping my earphones. So, I'd love to know your thoughts on what I shared with you. Can you guys relate to any of that, or have you tried any of those exercises like that of breathing and sensing and feeling where your body's holding the energy? Just love to know what you're thinking, and if you like what I share. Hey, Diane. So I was just finishing up, actually, sharing with you. Hey, Todd. Sharing with you an exercise that I've done and used for a long time to help me get more conscious of the unconscious, to change my habits, so that I can free myself of sugar cravings. So, great, Diane. Yes, I will get it to you. So if any of you other guys would like it, then just drop me a note in the comments here, and I will shoot it to you as well. All right, so if no other comments, no other questions, anything that you'd like to share with me, I'm going to sign off, and thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we'll talk soon. Take care.